our interests are growing, we have relationships with all the parties involved. I mean, we are seeing this in the Ukraine conflict as well, where we have, very strong relations with Russia, we have it with Europe, we have it with Ukraine as well, we have it with the United States. And then the question is, how do you manage them, all of them? So in that sense, yes, it is multi-alignment, because today's India has that range of interests which require us to manage multiple accounts. Well, look, India would be one of the very few countries who has very good relations, very strong relations with the United States, with Israel, with Iran, and with the Gulf countries. So we have, and we have real interests there. So for us, the challenge in this situation is how to maintain all these relationships, how to protect our equities, how to advance our interests. And we don't look at it as a zero-sum game. We have to manage and actually take care of all these accounts. So having said that, I would say there are some general principles by which we would approach this region. Obviously, we want peace and stability in the region. For us, the welfare, the well-being of the diaspora is crucial. 3, we want to see energy prices go down, because we are a very big importer of energy and much of it comes from that region. 4, as I stated in my remarks, we very much are in favor of safe and unimpeded maritime commerce through the region. And what we want to see is really the markets open up there. We don't want to see constraints. So these would be the principles with which we would approach that region. And in a way, of course, every situation is unique. But I think we will find increasingly in the world that there will be conflicts or difficult situations where India, because our interests are growing, we have relationships with all the parties involved. I mean, we are seeing this in the Ukraine conflict as well, where we have, very strong relations with Russia, we have it with Europe, we have it with Ukraine as well, we have it with the United States. And then the question is, how do you manage them, all of them? So in that sense, yes, it is multi-alignment, because today's India has that range of interests which require us to manage multiple accounts. The first question about energy choke points and, what's happening between us and the US on energy. Well, I think as I mentioned, there's been actually a very significant uptick in our energy imports from the United States. It's not new. It started out many, many years ago, but I think it's really picked up in the last year. And where India is concerned, look, this is an era of de-risking, and probably energy more than anything else requires de-risking. So a big country, if you are to do de-risking, looks at multiple sourcing. And for us, the United States has emerged as a very significant and reliable source of energy, as indeed have some other countries. So the way we will deal with, the current situation in Hormuz, and frankly going forward as well, which is to diversify our energy sources, because that is at the heart of our energy security. And that is why we feel strongly that the energy market should not be distorted, they should not be constrained. It is important to keep energy prices down for global growth. Regarding your question on the Iran war, in fact, it flows in a way from that answer. Sure, I mean, at this time, where India and the United States are concerned, we both have a very strong interest in ensuring that there is safe and unimpeded maritime commerce. We also have a very strong interest in ensuring that globally energy prices are kept low and that energy sources are more available. So, look, we are both countries. Obviously, each one of us has our own national interest and policies, but partnerships and relationships are built on what you share, and clearly in this case, safe and unimpeded commerce and predictable, affordable, accessible energy sources are two very important meeting points. Now, as to who all are involved in in the matter which Secretary Rubio addressed, I think it's for the parties to work out. It's for them. Regarding the other question on the Trump administration and Quad, I want to remind you that the Quad actually in the current form started during President Trump's first administration. And actually it picked up then, it has moved on, and it was very interesting when I began by saying that, we met on the first day of Secretary Rubio's tenure as Secretary of State. It was for a Quad meeting. And last year we actually had 2 Quad meetings. We are having a third Quad foreign ministers meeting. And looking ahead, to me, the Indo-Pacific is going to become more and more important with the passage of time. We were just talking about energy. It will even become a big energy lifeline. I mean, if you're going to see, for example, a much bigger India-US energy trade, or India's energy and general trade with the US, with other countries in the Americas, I can see, much more growth, much more trade, much more maritime activity out there. So, to me, the work on Quad goes on, and I think 2 days from now, you will see us on the podium talking about the Quad, and I can assure you we will have a good, strong story to tell.
If you could talk about specifically on the issue of energy purchases, the Secretary Rubio has referred to the U.S. desire to sell more energy to India. Has India made any concrete commitments regarding purchase of U.S. energy as an additional source, or as India pursues increased diversification? Thank you.
I have one question on expectations from the Trump administration, 3 questions on energy which sort of overlap, and 1 question on the Quad. So I'll take them in that order. I think, look, where the United States is concerned, the Trump administration has been very forthright in putting forward its foreign policy outlook as America first. Now, where we are concerned, we have a view of India first. So both of us are obviously driven by our respective national interests. There will be many areas where our national interests are in harmony and we work together, which is why we have a strategic partnership. There could be some where they don't, in which case we have to manage those situations. Where the energy issues are concerned, again, look, I want to say for our energy security, it's important we have multiple sources, large sources, dependable sources, cheap sources. So, the United States, because that was the first question, fits the bill in many respects. So do some other countries. So we will continue to diversify and maintain multiple sources of supply at the most reasonable cost, because at the end of the day, we have an obligation to our people to provide them energy at affordable and accessible rates. Now, what we don't want to see, we don't want to see energy markets distorted. We don't want to see energy markets constricted, because it has a cost implication. So the question which was asked, did we discuss that? Yes, we discussed that. And, I certainly expressed the Indian point of view that, we strongly believe that energy markets should be left, to the market. Where the Quad is concerned, I'm glad you used the word maritime democracies, because both terms, I think, are very relevant. We are doing a lot with each other because we are maritime powers, and I see that growing. And we are doing a lot with each other because we are democratic powers, who have a certain way of doing things, who have a certain belief system, who have certain practices. We are market economies, we are open societies. We want business to be conducted and life to run on the basis of international law and market practices. So for us, particularly in the Indo-Pacific, which, as I've already stated, I see as gaining in importance in salience in the coming days, it's very important that the Quad cooperation as maritime democracies continue, and that is exactly what you will see 2 days from now. Thank you.